Welcome everyone to the Ryco Performance Monday Night Top Split on GridVision. Tonight we've got some A Open and B Open action. The SOF races tonight, Monday night. Every Monday night we've got you all season long for some A Open, B Open action. That's me, Austin Edstrom, alongside Nick Stein, Austin Derbyshire in the production booth. Nick, what do you think? Richmond tonight, how do you think this one's gonna go?
Well, first off, that was very aggressive. Actually, kind of scared me with that intro, but
Good.
yeah. Yeah, Richmond's going to be great. This is going to be a great race. Richmond's always a great track to watch a race at. I am stuttering like nobody's business tonight. This is going to be a fun night.
Stuttering in the broadcast booth. Hopefully, nobody is stuttering on the racetrack. I think I might have caught the stutter bug already, but here we got a good little ways to fill in here at the beginning of our broadcast section due to our C-tier broadcaster not bringing the track map. I'm just kidding.
Man, shots fired already?
I'm just kidding. I love them.
Wow, that didn't take long.
Well, we're going to jump straight into our keys of the race because we do still have other stuff that we can fill the time with. Nick Stein, I know that you spent hours debating over what the top 3 keys to the Richmond race are.
If
let me
you
hear.
mean hours, then if hours means seconds, then yeah, sure, we'll go with that. But
yeah,
first is going to be saving the right rear tonight. I mean, it's Richmond Raceway. You're always going to be driving off the right rear here, purely because of the banked front stretch and the turning all the freaking time. And then secondly, wrap that yellow line. If you're not on that yellow line, I don't know what you're doing because it's slow if you're not on the yellow line. And then thirdly, don't use all the track. Contrary to popular belief, here at Richmond, you don't want to use all the track because if you use all the track out of turn 4, you're driving the place wrong. So, yeah, that is my keys to the race.
Just got to be patient. Coming out of turn number 4, you don't want to get down on that throttle pedal too hard and scrape off all the good out of those tires because it really will scrape it off really quick. Richmond's a very abrasive racetrack. One of the most abrasive we go to. It's relatively smooth. I wouldn't call it bumpy by any means, but it scrapes up the tires relatively hard getting into these tight, slow corners. After picking up a good bit of speed down the straightaways. But we're going to move straight into our broadcast picks as we close up our qualifying session. About 1 minute left in qualifying. Pulling up my pick first, I'm going with Matt Busa. iRacing Pro driver. Obviously got the talent, got the stuff. Won at Richmond plenty of times in the past. I think he's going to bring home the checker flag here tonight.
And I'm going with no other surprise here other than Alex Murray. He is my team owner, so I do have to pick him. So that's going to be my pick. And of course, Darby going with the one, the only, the guy who's actually sponsored by Richmond Raceway in Garrett Maines.
Yeah, who would have thought one of us would pick Garrett Maines? I mean,
oh, man,
it's just a slam dunk easy pick, right?
Yeah, not surprising at all, especially for Darby. He always picks the one car.
You know, you saw that apple in the garden and just said, man, I got to pick that. And that's exactly how Darby felt, picking Garrett Maines as soon as he saw him in here tonight.
Wouldn't surprise me if he picks Garrett Maines in the Xfinity race as well. Because, you know, it is Darby. He's got to prove that he's the greatest of us all because he always picks the one car.
I think we need to go back and make a statistic over this. We need to check back and see who picks the one car the most. And banish them from picking again because they're cheating.
I was going to say, I can guarantee you it's probably Darby with the one car.
Well, we'll have to do it by percentages, right? Because Darby obviously has the most races.
That's where you lose me because I hate math.
No, well, I can do it. I can do it easy. Looking into the race schedule, though, this week, finally, a little bit of variety. I mean, looking back at last week, I remember seeing a whole lot of COTA. This week, not much a repeat. Obviously, the races tonight and the races on Friday night are going to be about the same. Friday night's going to be the Ryco Performance Friday night top split, or NIS top split, I should say, 8 p.m. Eastern. Tuesday night, though, tomorrow night, Champion Power Equipment iRacing Truck Series, 9 p.m. Eastern. Me and Brian Britt will be on the call, and then Wednesday night at the Phoenix Raceway, Thunderclap iRacing Series will take on. Well, I've already said it was at Phoenix Raceway, so I don't know why I said we'll take on, because you already knew it was at the Phoenix Raceway. Nick, I am taking a page out of your book, buddy. The start to this has been a little bit of a mess, but we have a chance to redeem ourselves with the starting lineup here. No stuttering on anybody's names. This is our chance. This is our moment. Starting on the front row, in his moment, Garrett Maines on the pole. Not really a big surprise. Our producer's pick, Johan Seminario on the outside of the front row. Joseph Gulata starting in P3 with Patrick Gitter in P4. Jeremy Sumter is going to be heading up row number 3 with Sean Conklin on the outside of that row. Shane Parrish in P7 with Ray Alfala in P8. James Houghton in P9 and Matt DiCiani rounds out the top 10.
Starting on row number 6 tonight, Taylor Hurst with Jacob Schneider in 12th position. Row number 7, Alex Murray and Cody Turlin. Row number 8 is Zach Roethlisberger and Shane Davis. And row number 9 going to be Miller Bonds with Edward Shearer Jr., Elliot Drummond, and Derek Heitman going to be running out your top 20 tonight.
21st is going to be Dylan Banks with 22nd, Joshua Watson, 23rd, Justin Levine, 24th, Brandon Bikey. 25th is going to be Paul Brigoli with 26th, Nicholas Froman, 27th, Matt Busa, starting all the way in the back with Joseph and Joseph Pisciata. The last 4 on your starting lineup did not put in a qualifying lap, so it will be interesting to watch those guys come through the field, see what they can do on this old, worn-out racetrack. Again, it's going to be tough for them because this is a tough racetrack to pass, period. And then, again, you're trying to save tires at the same time while also make moves up towards the front. So it'll be interesting to see how they balance that, trying to come through the field.
Well, you said how we really shouldn't have started on the starting grid, right? Well, we both failed because we both had some pretty big stutters there.
There were some baby ones in there, but you know what? We're growing into it. We've still got a whole nother race after this one, right? We got to grow into it, into the night. I've had work all day, right? I imagine you've had work all day. We're tired.
Yeah,
We gotta rejuvenate ourselves. We're gonna get it with some banging racing from the Richmond Raceway. I'm guaranteeing it. I'm telling you.
My work today was taking 4 straight final exams. Not fun. My brain is fried. I am very tired.
You're definitely done for the day. I applaud you for even being here. Unless you're like a communication student, then man.
God, great guess.
Are you really?
Yep. What a guess. What a guess. Just guessed it right out of the blue.
You want to know why I guessed
No hesitation. Why did you guess it?
Because I have a communications degree.
Hey, let's go. Let's go. Communications degree, rise.
Oh, boy. Wow, we really devolved before the green flag here.
That didn't take long.
That was great though.
Gotta
you
be a
probably
new
do need to
record.
man up a little bit though. I gotta set you straight. You probably do need to man up a little bit, buddy. It's communications.
Sure. But I'm also very tired because it was 4 very long tests.
That's fair. That's fair. 4 is the long number. Luckily, we don't have 400 laps like the Cup races typically. We'll have 200 on Friday night with the NIS Open tonight. We've got 130 in the A Open. Garrett Maines leading us to the green on lap number 1, side by side with Johan Seminario on the outside. In return, number 1. Side by side, plenty of room.
Already starting to check up further back in the field. I see a little bit of a stack up going on from about, I would say, 6th or 7th on back, and shuffling already all over the place. There's 3 wide already. This is around the 13th position here, as that Chris Buescher themed car is sending it around the outside there.
Yeah, always very, very, very racy mid-pack here at Richmond on the restarts. Oh, wrecking coming out of turn number 2. There was an orange car going around. Zach Roethlisberger going down through the field. I believe that was him. Yep, the number 10 Tide car turned around on the outside of turn number 2. Just caught it coming out of the corner of your screen, coming out of the corner. Saw his name tumbling down the running order, and unfortunately for Zach, here in the early going, going to be dropping him, like we mentioned, down the running order and using up those tires a little bit. I would probably not recommend using up a new set at this point. They've only got 3 sets behind the tires over the course of 130 laps at Richmond, which is, like I said, abrasive. So it's just going to be tough. But for this whole first stint, he's just going to have to deal with that. We see the 12 just, was that Tommy Gossett? Or it's a Gossett paint scheme on the side. I'm not sure if that was actually Tommy Gossett.
I think that was Miller Bonds.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That confuses me every time. But Miller Bonds just loses it a little bit, getting into turn 1, under braking maybe, got a little sketchy and got down on the apron and came back onto the racetrack, and really the 10 had nothing to do with it, just innocent bystander getting caught up in somebody else's mess.
Yeah, I was getting ready to make a bet saying he probably got into the corner too hot and the car snapped on him, but I was dead wrong, so I'm glad I didn't make that bet. Sports betting is not okay, children. Don't sports bet.
Well, I mean,
don't even start.
If you're good at it.
Don't even start.
Hear me out.
Sports betting bad.
Hear me out. Look, you gotta put
sports betting bad.
no. You gotta put that puts Eric Almirola is
Austin.
plus 4,700 in an Xfinity race.
I swear you've said this every week.
I'm just saying. Whenever
You
he's got
have
a Stewart Haas
literally-
car.
You've literally bought this up every week.
Look, no, it's been like 2 or 3 weeks.
Can we get a counter for every time
Look.
Austin brings up the fact that he won? What was it? $800 on a plus
No.
$400 bet.
It was 470.
$470 on
Yeah.
a plus 400 or 47.
Hey, I'm telling you, it's been 2 or 3 times max. And I was saying it this time to make a point. So. I think we might have lost my buddy Nick Stein. Honestly, good timing because he was berating me about being a degenerate gambler, and I don't like being reasoned with, even if they are correct. So thank goodness Nick has been kicked out of here for reasoning with me and trying to save me. Lights on the pace car are out, though, on lap number 6. Going to be restarting on lap number 7 here of 130. Still really early on in the go into this one. Garrett Main still leading the way. Has led every lap so far. Joseph Gulata on the outside. Johan Seminario dropped a spot from the restart to Joseph there in the number 9. 98 on y'all's screen, but up on the ticker. Number 9, Joseph. Just kind of tough there on the outside on these restarts. Really, really difficult to hold on to that second place spot. I honestly expect Johan to probably take it back on this restart, and it's going to be easier for the third place car on every restart going forward compared to the initial start of the race. Since that inside line gets to jump a little bit early, Garrett Mains going to use that to his advantage here, coming down to the line. Garrett Mains brings us back down to the green for the second time tonight. And I was actually wrong about that second place. Joseph Gulata easily able to clear for that second place position down into turn number 1. Johan did not get a good jump, and Gulata took advantage of it in that second place spot on the outside. Looking a little bit further back, Sean Conklin is battling, trying to get a little bit further up the track. Oh, he might have gotten on the gas just a little bit early there. Pushed up the racetrack just about into the side of the 21. It's Patrick Gitter ahead of him for that 4th place position. Trying to look a little bit further back. Just a big swarm of cars. I mean, it's just so hard to get away from each other on these restarts at Richmond. I mean, if you're 10th on back, it's going to take you 5, 6, 7, 8 laps to have any bit of space, any bit of breathing room, and not be in some type of battle, whether you're defending your position single file or actually side by side fighting hard. And we see multiple side by side battles currently. The 0-2, I believe that's Schneider on the inside, Sumter on the outside. Jeremy Sumter losing that position through turns 3 and 4. Schneider going through lap number 10 of the race now this evening. Schneider looking pretty good here in the early going, but again, we've been talking about Richmond having a really, really abrasive surface. If you push early in the early going and pick up a couple positions, is it going to hurt you in the long run? Are you going to run 20, 30, 40 laps and then lose that right front tire? Are you going to lose your ability to drive up out of the corner with any meaningful type of drive? But we've actually got a side-by-side battle for the race lead a little bit further up the racetrack. Garrett Mains on the outside of Joseph Gulata. Gulata is running down Garrett Mains in the early going, and again, though, he had to fight that dirty air on these newer tires. Had to fight to get to the inside of Mains, and now getting pinched down by Mains, corner after corner. Can Gulata take this position? Can he use up those tires, but keep him relatively safe? He slides up in front of Garrett Mains. Garrett Mains gives it to him. He might have tried to go for that cutback, but Joseph Gulata just parked it on the apex on exit and did not give Garrett Mains the opportunity. Great move there from Joseph Gulata in the early going. Again, just pay attention to that tire wear, though. Does Gulata come back to Mains in the long haul? Is my buddy Nick not back yet? My goodness, poor Nick. Still hard racing all throughout the pack. We were talking about the 12 not too long ago. Miller Bonds getting in an incident, sending around the 10. Zach Roethlisberger, the one caution that we've had so far of the evening. Trying to make it through the pack. He's fighting with Edward Scher Jr. currently. Edward on the inside of him going into turn number 3 in that 24. Miller Bonds in that blue Ryco Performance Mustang on the outside, that number 12. Side by side into turn number 1. Team Conti number 24 on the inside, looking pretty stout. Miller Bonds looking just as stout on the outside. I want to say Bond started relatively deep in the field.
He started 17th.
And just 17th, yeah, not too bad. Welcome back, Nick.
Apologies about that. I decided to completely lose all sound input for a couple minutes, and it took me way too long to figure out how to fix it.
I've been there, done that, so I'm not going to rush you too bad for it. I've
and
definitely had those moments.
It's only with my broadcast equipment it does this. I have no idea why. Absolutely zero idea why as to why it does this, but we're gonna roll with it.
Were you able to pay attention to the race at all whenever you were?
Nope, because I was frantically trying to figure out how to get my sound back.
That's not too surprising. I think we're seeing as the tires are starting to wear, right? We're 10 laps into the green flag portion of the run, maybe 11 or 12 now, with the one caution separating that. So I think the tires are maybe starting to lose a little bit of that time. Doesn't have that peak grip that we saw at the beginning. And I think we're starting to see that it's becoming harder and harder to pass. I think you really need to get your passing done on the restarts on the fresh tires whenever you have the most grip. After a few laps, I think it becomes pretty difficult to get it done on the inside. I just think the guy on the outside has a lot of tools, a lot of weapons to keep you down there and keep you pitched down to the inside without being able to use any forward momentum coming off the corner, pinched down to the inside of the racetrack. So I think we're going to see that on the long haul and the long runs, that the outside line will probably be more preferred. There will probably still be moments where we see inside passes, and we see Miller Bonds trying to do it right here to Jeremy Sumter, but Sumter overcooks turn number 3, and that's an easy way to see an inside pass. If somebody blows turn number 3, you're going to see a couple guys go by, as you see it right there, 4, 5 drivers just going right on by Jeremy Sumter.
Well, there's also the fact that it is incredibly hard to pass at Richmond to begin with anyway, so...
Oh, yeah. You ain't wrong, I mean, man. This track...
Yeah. One of the hardest tracks in NASCAR to pass at, so the fact that we're even seeing any passing at all with this current package is kind of surprising, actually, so, you know.
It's very difficult. You have to find very different ways to make speed, and a lot of that is finding different lines, very abnormal lines through turns 1 and 2, and trying to build some type of forward momentum coming off of turn number 2. To where you can make some type of dive bomb into 3, or sometimes a second lane will kind of come into turn 3 where you can run a little bit higher and gain a little bit of ground coming off the corner. If you really use the momentum that you've built up from 2 and really wrap it through the center of the corner in 3 and 4, you can maybe get to the outside of somebody. But again, it's so difficult. You have to build a move up for laps. It's not something that just immediately happens or whatnot, like you could maybe see on a mile and a half, where the speeds are a lot higher. Richmond just seems to take lap after lap.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're starting to see that here. I mean, you were just talking about building up the move for multiple laps, and, you know, that's another thing I wanted to talk about on the subject is, you know, that move, you could build it up for, you know, 10 laps. I mean, we've been watching this battle between Schneider and Gitter as, oh, wow, 3 wide here at Richmond. Got a little bit interesting there, but what I was trying to say is, you could build the move up forever, you know, 10, 15 laps, and then, you know, you set that move up and all hell breaks loose for a few laps, and then, you know, that pass gets made or something like that happens where a mistake is made into a corner, and, you know, it goes back to square one for the next, I don't know, 10, 15 laps where people are just trying to set that move up and just trying everything they can to get that momentum going.
Yeah, that was a great way to get a pass done from Jacob Schneider, I'll say. It worked out pretty good. It was a very different kind of bump and run, getting the guy completely sideways there.
Yeah, I think Schneider got on the apron there, and that's what sent him up into the 21 at Getter, so...
Seen that issue now multiple times into turn 1 in the early going. Is that going to be a persistent issue?
I would say so, yeah, because of how, you know, how steep that drop-off is into turn 1. I mean, you're coming from all the way up next to the wall down to that yellow line in the span of, what, at most 100 feet? So, you know, it's really easy to overcook it here at Richmond. I mean, on both ends of the track, especially going into 1. But, I mean, we've seen it a couple times already tonight. People have just overcooked it a little bit going into turn 3. And, yeah, it's just... Richmond's, like I said, one of the most difficult tracks to drive on iRacing, I think. And that's partially the reason why I don't like Richmond. It's just way too difficult, I think, especially in the next gen.
Well, it's like you mentioned a little bit earlier in that, it's very difficult to get into turn 3. We see a lot of people overdrive the entry to that corner. For whatever reason, and especially in the next-gen car, the other vehicles I don't think are as bad, but in the next-gen car, under braking into turn 3, there can be a lot of issues. I've had more lockups going into turn 3 at Richmond than probably any other track with the next-gen. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just me, right? But after seeing multiple other guys here in this race tonight kind of blow that entry into 3, and I've seen it multiple times too from other guys too in other weeks whenever I've done it myself. So I just know that that's a pretty predominant issue at the racetrack going into turn number 3, and you'll see it on restarts a lot because we'll end up getting a restart chain just off of Rex into turn 3. Happens so many times in these Richmond races. If we get a late race caution, you'll just get people really diving into turn 3, trying to make up as much ground as they can, and it really leads to a lot of right front lockups. So I'd be wary about that later in the race. Maybe even the next restart. I mean, you never know whenever somebody could make a tiny mistake like that, and it could end somebody's night.
Yeah, getting into our next point of contention, I mean, we're 30 laps into a run on tires here, and now is where we're really going to start to see who saved their tires and who pushed too hard. And I mean, prime example right there, you saw it while we were talking just a second ago, Taylor Hurst making 2 passes around the outside, which, I mean, in and of itself is very difficult to do, let alone going around the outside. So I mean, we're going to be harping on it all night. It is so stupidly hard to pass, and knowing that Taylor Hurst just absolutely sent it around the outside there of 2 different cars, let alone, that is quite impressive.
The outside's probably the better place to do it, though, right? You get to keep your momentum up all the way around the corner and then through the straightaway. So you got max speed the entire way around the racetrack. If you can get side by side in the middle of the corner, you're going to be faster coming off because you had that outside line and you were able to pinch off their momentum. So I think it's the way to go if you can get to the outside, but I think most of these guys are going to realize that and start defending their right rear a little bit more. I'm kind of surprised that Taylor was even able to do that. I'm shocked people weren't defending their right rear a little bit more coming down into turn number 1 in the early going. I feel like that's a pretty typical passing zone once the tires wear out at Richmond, really utilizing that outside line.
Yeah, to be fair, I mean, we're, not even a third into this race here at Richmond. You know, that was, 30 laps in of a 130-lap race. So, I mean, it's also fair to say that maybe Schneider, or I believe it was Seminario that he also passed. I believe it's fair to say that they really didn't expect to get passed around the outside that early into a run. So, you know, that there's a whole lot of things that could go into making a pass here at Richmond, and we could go on for this all night. Like, we could find 30,000 other things to talk about how difficult it is to pass here. But, you know, we're going to be here all night and probably well past the time of the B Open race. So, you know, let's just put it simply. It is so incredibly difficult to pass.
Absolutely is, especially with all the dirty air problems. And we've started to see some people start to test out. Yeah, no kidding. We've started to see some people start to test out some lines also. Taylor Hurst was running a higher lane through 3 and 4 the last time by. That time it looks like he went back down to the bottom, so maybe he didn't quite find the speed that he needed wrapping the top. I think the top's the preferred groove. Oh, our race leader just hit the wall at it too, bringing Garrett Maines right up to his back bumper. The outside is the preferred groove whenever you're side by side, but single file, it's the bottom. But here, Garrett Maines looking to the bottom of Joseph Gulata. Joseph had been losing a little bit of ground in Garrett Maines over the course of the last couple laps. I think he'd worn out the good out of those Goodyear Eagles. Ran a little bit hard at the beginning of this stint. Took that lead away from Garrett Maines at the very beginning. Has been struggling the last couple laps, and it all culminated coming out of turn number 2 the last time by whenever he slapped the outside wall. But now he's utilizing that outside line to hold off Garrett Maines. This is what I was talking about. I think Maines is a little faster at this point. I think he's saved his tires a little bit better. But Gulata's able to use that outside line to defend and just prevent Garrett Maines from mounting any type of strong challenge to actually take the race lead and clear him. Like we saw into turn 1, he just held that middle lane, didn't let him get to the right rear again into turn 3, holding the middle lane, not allowing Garrett Maines to get to the outside of him.
Yeah, what he's also doing there is he's taking away the air from Garrett Maines. I mean, he's just trying to play that, run the line that he is, to take away that air, take away that front downforce, and most importantly, take away that front grip that you can get from running that bottom line. That's the most important thing to defending a pass here. I mean, you see here, Garrett Maines is having to send it in so deep just to get to the rear bumper of the 98 of Gulata. And I mean, that's just the difficult part about Richmond is that's what's so frustrating about Richmond is you could sit behind a dude for 60 laps and feel like you made almost no progress, and that's just the truth. I mean, you see here, Garrett Maines is trying to give him the bumper into the corner, but Galata is able to hold that outside line so well that Maines is losing anytime he gains by making that dive bomb into 3. And it's just a repeating cycle here. And that's, like I said, what's so frustrating is Maines almost gets to the inside there, but once again, Galata able to defend once again from that 12 of Garrett Maines. And, eventually something's going to break between these two. I mean, here you see Garrett Maines gets even with the 98 of Galata, but once again, just Galata has that outside line advantage. And yeah, it's a vicious repeating cycle here at Richmond.
Yeah, and I think Maines will wear him down eventually. Right, I think that he's probably not pushing his tires too heavily because he knows what's at stake. This thing could run green all the way through. But I think that he's running just hard enough to push Galata and make sure that he uses his stuff up. Because if Galata can use his stuff up at a higher rate than Maines, even with Maines chasing him down and putting pressure on him, running that outside groove to keep him back, then it's going to let Garrett Maines pass him eventually. At some point, the tire differential is going to be big enough for Garrett Maines in his favor to make the pass, even on the inside groove. But he's sending it into the outside in turn 3 and 4 this time by way up to the wall. Didn't really work out for him.
Yeah, that's one thing about that outside line. It's just it can be good in places, but it is not in 3 and 4. That is for darn sure. I mean, that outside line is probably slower when you're trying to race someone. It's probably slower, that very outside line, than the inside line is. So yeah, I could see where Garrett Maines is coming from. I mean, you can tell that Maines is starting to get a little bit frustrated here. He just cannot make a move to save his life, and he's just trying he's throwing everything but the kitchen sink at it right now.
Yeah, he's doing all he can to find something. And here off of 2, it looks like he found a little bit, right? He got a little run, not really able to do much with it. Really sends it in. Almost gets to the rear bumper of Galata and almost tags him. Getting into turn 3. Got to his outside for a moment in the middle of the corner, but was not far enough to actually hold the outside around him, but was able to get far enough to the inside to dive into turn 1. Perhaps a slide job from Garrett Maines through the middle of turn 1 and 2. He gets the move done, but the 98 cuts him back. Down to the bottom now through the back straightaway, but Garrett Maines is in the preferred groove into turn 3 and 4. And Garrett Maines is going to be able to take that race lead. I don't think Galata is going to be able to do anything with it now.
Good on Galata for holding on for so long there. I mean, we were watching this battle for, 15 laps there, and, Galata was able to hold Garrett Maines up for a while there. I mean, that was just an inevitable. Eventually, Garrett Maines was going to get past. It was just a matter of how long it took, and, seeing Galata hold him up for that long, that kind of gives me a little bit of hope that maybe someone else can win this race if we get a short run here at the end of this thing.
Well, we're a little over a third of the way through this one, so we're going to take our first commercial break of the evening. Stick with us as we're going to have more Ryco Performance Monday Night Top Split action on the other side of the break.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Ryco Performance Monday Night Top Split action on GridVision.
Oh, car spinning on the backstretch.
Oh, the 41 sideways, stopping in the middle of the back straightaway. The caution flag is out. Cars scattering just to miss him in the middle of the back straightaway. Nobody miraculously hits him. Is that Sumter? I don't think that's Sumter. Yeah, it is. No, sorry.
No,
Jeremy Sumter's already out.
laps down.
Yeah, my apologies. I didn't realize Sumter had gotten out. That's Houghton. My apologies. Side by side with Sean Conklin out of turn 2. A little bit of door contact. Tries to save it, locks it down. Honestly, that's probably the best he could have done. I don't think he could have done anything different.
No, not really. I mean, that was pure saving a wrecked race car right there, and I am genuinely surprised that nobody hit him there.
Yeah, I mean, he's lucky as can be. I've never seen a car come stopped in the middle of the back straightaway like that and not get pelted. I mean, that's a lot of cars scattering coming to him, and that's a scary sight. I mean, holy cow. A lot of these guys are tucked up behind other guys coming out of 2, and that's the main thing you got to pay attention to. Like, a lot of these guys' vision is blocked, and they're coming up to that, reacting to it in a matter of a second. So that's a pretty precarious situation he was stuck in there, but obviously with that long green flag run, everybody coming down, take a set of tires.
Yeah, this is gonna put us just under halfway, I do believe, and yeah, that was a very, very long run there. 63 laps since the start of the race that these guys were on those sets of tires. So my best approximation is tires were probably going to be somewhere in the mid-70s after that, knowing how abrasive Richmond is, because you and I both know.
Probably lower than that. Okay, never mind. From what I'm hearing, I'm completely wrong.
I mean, to be fair, so Justin Levine just told us what his tires were, and they were what, 89, 87. But to be fair, he told us multiple times throughout that he was full out saving that entire run. So maybe I could be right, mid 70s, high 70s. So
I mean,
for
55
these guys,
green flag laps there, and it was only that much. That shocks me. I figured it'd be a lot more than that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. That's interesting, actually. So
maybe Justin just needs to drive harder.
probably.
I don't know.
I mean, there is such thing as under pushing the car.
I am an under pusher, especially in the next gen. I don't know what it is, but I have not found the limit in this thing.
Yeah, I am the exact opposite. I find the limit every week, and it usually ends up with me in the wall upside down. So.
You overstep the heck out of the limit. That's the third split. You probably got the speed for. I've raced with you at Bristol. You got the speed for top split, but if you if what you're saying is true, that's where the third split comes in. If you're wrecking every other race.
Well, to be fair, it has also been what, almost 6 months since the last time I drove this car competitively. So, okay. I mean, now I would probably suck at this thing. Let's be honest. Now, if we go to IndyCar, oh yeah, bud.
That doesn't count. IndyCar doesn't count.
You don't count.
If it doesn't have fenders, it's not a race car. It's a spaceship on wheels.
That is the worst take I've ever heard. And I've heard a lot of bad takes before.
Hey, space car on wheels. Formula One, that's it.
Yes, because IndyCar and Formula One are the exact same thing, and they are so incredibly the same. Not.
Garrett Maines leading us back to the green flag as the 4 car goes for a spin out of turn number 4. Hits the inside fence. Caution flag does not fly. I think that's Matt DeCiani.
Oh, they're wrecking more,
Oh,
right?
another wreck coming out of turn number 2. This one's going to bring the caution out. I believe I see one Ryco car around. That might be Joseph in the 20. And
No,
a Team
that's-
Conti member in the 76.
That is Joseph. I thought that was Miller Bonds for a second.
Don't question
They
me.
need to
Don't
diversify
you dare
their
question
teams.
me.
Like if we're gonna have 3 number 12s in the field, can we make them all different colors? Not all 3 of them blue, please.
Well, this is a 20.
Yeah, but I'm just voicing my frustrations because there's 3 number 12s in the Ryco camp and they're all blue.
Joseph Squared getting aggressive here in the middle. A little bit of contact as the 78 came down, then the 20 came down in reaction. I don't know, a lot of people just fighting for the same bit of real estate entering turn number 1. And unfortunately for Joseph Squared, he was probably the worst off on that one.
I don't know. Derek Heitman definitely got a good bit of damage from that in that 76 car. So
Yeah, that wasn't great for
Joseph definitely lost the most positions, but I do think Heitman got the worst end of that wreck.
Oh yeah, that's a
For
heavier.
sure.
I mean, I don't know. Joseph had a hard left front impact and
Yeah,
left
but
rear.
Heitman had both a rear end and a
Yeah, look at
front
that
end
right
impact.
front. You're right. That right front's hurt.
Oh yeah, that is minimum probably 4 or 5 minutes of damage for the 76 of Heitman, and I would say probably close to 2 or 3 minutes for Joseph. But yeah, that is a hurting race car right there.
Well, that race car might be
Oh,
hurt.
Joseph
but-
Squared's already out.
Race car might be hurt, but something that makes him feel good under the hood of that number 20 is the fact that he's got Ryco Performance setups. And at Ryco Performance, they are more than a setup shop. They are a performance provider, preparing you weekly with data and setups to get you ahead of the curve of the competition. Whether you're a seasoned sim racer or a weekend warrior, our cutting-edge data packs and one-on-one coaching sessions are tailor-made to push the limits of yourself and your virtual race car, giving you the winning edge that you crave. Why should you choose Ryco Performance? We have expert craftsmanship by a team of seasoned builders. We have cutting-edge performance enhancements tailored to your vehicle, and we have unrivaled coaching and reliability to handle the most demanding circuits on the iRacing platform. For more information, visit us at Ryco-motorsports.com, where we build champions and deliver results. Big thank you to Ryco Performance, as always, for tagging along for the Ryco Performance Monday Night Top Split, allowing us to broadcast these week in, week out for the entire 2024 iRacing season every Monday and Friday night for the NIS Opens. Big thank you to those guys over there for doing what they do to allow us to do what we do.
Yep, I gotta agree with Justin there. You sound like a robot, Austin.
What?
Beep boop, beep beep boop boop. That's what you sound like.
Hey man, I'm here.
I speak the truth, nothing but the truth, and for the people.
Do I need to add some more inflection in my voice? Do I need to
Yeah,
really talk louder?
obviously.
Okay. Okay. My bad. I'm sorry. I'll wake up. I'll wake up for the rest of this one. The pace car is off. Coming out of turn number 4. Garrett Maines in the Geico restart zone, side by side with Joseph Gulata in the 98. Garrett Maines gonna be able to take that read on the
now you
lead
sound like
start,
a-
but a little bit closer this time than I think we've seen on previous restarts. Gulata with a pretty good jump.
Yeah, you sound like a goofball now.
Hey. Decide what you want. What do you want me to be?
I am here purely to make you question everything about your existence.
I do that every day anyway. I don't need you
Same.
to make me do it more.
We are the same, but also very different.
I mean, we're both getting communications degrees, so I say we're pretty similar.
True, but you're not going into sports commentary, are you?
I'm literally broadcasting an iRacing race side by side with you. Like, what are you?
Yeah, I didn't think that one through before I said it.
I mean, like, I wish I could. I would love to just live inside of your mind for a night and just figure out how it works.
ADHD is a hell of a drug. That's all I'm saying.
That's understandable. I've got the other A word, so I feel you. Either way, Garrett Maines up at the front. Irrelevant. But Garrett Maines up at the front.
What is that laugh?
The snort through it there. Oh boy,
Oh, we have
it's
devolved
happening.
into absolute madness. That did
It's
take
guaranteed to
long.
happen once every time me and Nick get up into the broadcast booth. It's just a matter of when, not if.
Yeah, it happens a lot quicker at road courses than it does in ovals, but hey,
Yeah.
it still happens.
Kind of surprised to see Johan Seminario dropping through the field. Not really the night I expected from him after starting up on the front row, was it? Yeah, he started in second place, and he has dropped all the way back to P12. So not the start whatsoever from Johan that we expected after a lightning quick qualifying effort.
Yeah, another. I mean, one thing I did want to bring up is, I mean, you got your two biggest movers already on the fringes of the top 10. You know, Vroman and Matt Busa are tied for biggest movers right now. They have both gained 16 spots since the start of this race, and yeah, they have been hauling through this field. You know, they both started at the back, and Vroman kind of led the way for Matt Busa.
Yeah, they've just kind of piggybacked off of each other, picking their way through the back of the pack, kind of running the same pace, working their way all the way from the back after not putting down a qualifying time. Just biding their time, making their way through as we see Gulata trying to make it a second verse, same as the first kind of instance here. As the first run, we saw him get to the inside of Garrett Maines and pass him here on the second run.
Oh, caution on the
racetrack.
racetrack.
Inside and makes contact as the caution comes out moments later as the 91 is stopped sideways on the exit at turn number 4.
Joseph Pisciata in that 91 Chevrolet Camaro goes for a ride. Not that type of ride. You concern me, Austin.
It's that type of night.
It is. Looking at the replay here, just looks like coming off of turn number 4, just comes up in front of the 41 of Houghton, and not really anywhere for either one of them to go. And
oh, Houghton contact on the inside.
Another one of those parked in the middle of the track, and nobody hits him. Interesting.
I'm to the Ryco Performance Monday Night Top Split, the second half, the second version, I suppose, of the A Open race from the Richmond Raceway. Unfortunately, we had a little bit of technical difficulties. Our producer's power grid went out or something. I don't know. His power went out in his house, and he had to fix that real quick. He's back. Luckily, we got the stream back. Only cost us about 30 or so laps. Did miss a lead change or two. Had a little bit of shuffling of pit strategies. A couple guys did stay out on old tires under that last caution. Not really working out for any of them, and I don't think it's going to work out because everybody in the field still has another set of tires. So some guys have one, some guys have two. We don't have enough time to utilize two, so I really think that everybody that stayed out has kind of played the wrong strategy at this point. The highest runner, I believe, out of anybody that has played that strategy is Sean Conklin, who's just lost the 6th place position, or he's in a side-by-side battle for 6 with Alex Murray.
Yeah, the staying out on tires, that was purely a track position play. I mean, pretty much everyone that did stay out on tires is started up in the top 5, and you are right. I mean, the only person that was on old tires that is still, in the top 5 would be Alex Murray, who's currently holding the 5th spot. So some would say it did work because it got him a few spots compared to where they were, because, Murray was fighting for about the 8th or 9th spot. Conklin was fighting for about the 6th or 7th spot. So in a way, I guess you could say it worked, but these two have been at each other's throats for the better part of the last 30 laps. So, I mean, they're burning their tires out more than they would if they would have just taken the fresh set of tires anyway.
Oh, 69 making a move to the inside, trying to make it 3 wide, forces Alex Murray up to the outside groove, making contact. A little bit of door contact between Murray again, between him and Sean Conklin. Not a lot of room between these three. 69 squeezes them tight again. No room between these three all the way through 3 and 4. Super tight as the 69 gets a little squirrely. Coming into turn 1, they all give each other a little bit of room. Alex Murray might have backed out coming into the corner. Tries to squeeze into the hole in the center. Still 3 wide just about, but finally they cycle it back out down to 2 wide. What was a battle for 6 is now a battle for 7th as Ray Alfala cycles through on the inside groove, and as they're side by side behind him, he's going to skate on through.
Ray Alfala gave it no rips there as he just sent those 2 3 wide there for multiple laps on end, and somehow came out the benefactor of that, especially being on the bottom 3 wide. So props to Ray Alfala, but
Gary Mays, our race leader's just been doored in the middle of the corner by a lap car. Brandon Bikey through 3 and 4. Garrett Mays was going around on the outside, and Brandon Bikey started going straight in the middle of the corner. At least that's what it looked like from my side. I might have to get another view. I caught it very, very last second.
Yeah, he just went straight into the corner.
We need to wait for him to get by, see if it happens again. Wait until he gets by, and then we need to go back to see if we replay if we can, because that was very, very strange behavior from Bikey on that last try.
Bikey just went straight up into Mains. He didn't care. Now Mains going to give Bikey the bumper into the corner.
Oh my goodness! He's covering it up. What is going on between these two? What is the beef that these guys have between each other? What does Bikey have with Garrett Mains for him to hold him up for so long? Matt Busa's just sitting back here like, what in the world is going on?
Let's just put it like this. It is a lot of setup shop politics between these two. That is the main beef between Bikey and Garrett Mains. I mean, I don't feel like getting into it, but yeah, there's a lot of politics between these two.
I can't stand it. Brandon Bikey on the outside finally puts that thing in the wall. Matt Busa skates by on the outside, or on the inside. Garrett Mains was able to hold on to the race lead. Honestly, I feel like Busa held back and allowed Mains to keep the lead. I really think Matt Busa could have passed him if he wanted to. Bikey was holding him up a good bit, and Busa didn't really launch an attack. So I want to say that it was a little bit of good sportsmanship from Busa there. I might be reading a little bit too much into it. Maybe he was going after it, but
and now Bikey's blocking Jacob Schneider.
Is he doing it again, man?
Yep.
Bikey, come on, man. I get the setup shop stuff. I get being upset at another one. I've been in this situation myself, but man, we can't let it devolve this far. I mean, I get it. I hate some of it. There's some ridiculous drama between shops at literally all times. It does not matter. There is drama between every single shop on the service for whatever reason. And unfortunately, we're seeing it come to blows again.
You know what this stems from? You really, so what this stems from between Bikey and Ryco is Jacob Schneider sent Brandon Bikey at Bristol. You remember that? I believe it was the Monday night SOF race.
That does sound familiar.
Yeah, Schneider sent Bikey into the corner, and that put Bikey out of the race, and I think that's what Bikey's beef with Ryco is right now. I could be totally wrong, but yeah, that
There could be
definitely
more
seems,
behind it. And look,
yeah.
dude, I gotta be straight up with you. I get it. Like, I've been junked by somebody. I've sent messages to people upset after races and gotten in arguments and whatnot. And you know what? I've definitely given a hard time back, but there's a very, very big difference between.
Oh, come on.
There's a very,
Come on,
very big
Bikey.
difference between
Stop
running somebody
this.
harder and giving them a harder time on the racetrack whenever you're on the same lap and being a menace a lap down. And look, I gotta be honest with you, I like Brandon Bikey. I've been on the same team with him before. I think he's a good guy, a great race car driver, but I don't like seeing this. I really don't.
I don't either. I absolutely hate seeing this, and I've had my beef with Bikey before. I mean, this stems back to when I was a part of Ryco, and yeah, it's not fun to be a part of a beef like that. And honestly, I think we should take this as a call to stop all politics with the setup shop stuff. I mean, it needs to stop because
Good luck with that.
yeah, I know it's not going to stop, but you know, we can at least try to help cool it off because it's getting to a boiling point. It feels like something's about to burst between, especially in the A Open scene. Like I definitely feel like something is about to happen. That's gonna. I'm not trying to, start anything here, but I mean, you know what I'm getting at, Austin. I feel like something's just about to happen. That's just gonna set us on a bad course with the A Open scene.
I mean, iRacing eventually comes in and squashes all these things. If they go too far, they come in and I've heard that they've sent messages to people before and have squashed pettiness and prevented stuff from going way too out of hand. So I think before it gets to that point, iRacing's gonna prevent it from getting for it to be that serious. Now I say that, what's going on right now is pretty serious, and we've seen it before. It's not the first time I've ever seen somebody do this. That's for dang sure, right? So I don't want to pile on Bikey too much either, because like I said, I've been there. I get it. I get the frustration, but regardless, we've got 6 laps to go currently at the line. Garrett Maines coming out of turn number 2, 5.5 to go for him. Matt Busa, second back. He had closed into that gap as Garrett Maines had trouble with the lap car, but Busa has steadily fallen off the back bumper of Garrett Maines up here.
Yeah, that was a whole thing that really shouldn't have happened, but Garrett Maines was able to recover from it, and now he has pulled that gap out pretty significantly. I'm pretty sure he's actually pulled it out further than what it was before that whole incident with that lap car, but looks like he's well and truly on his way to securing another A Open top split win in that 12 camp.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty safe bet to make, and we kind of said it was a safe bet to make at the beginning of the race whenever we ragged on our producer Austin Derbyshire for once again picking Garrett Maines, because we all knew that it was what did the kids say, a layup,
something like that. We need to ban him from choosing Garrett Maines. Like we should all make a pact that says we're not allowed to choose Garrett Maines anymore.
We should just not be allowed to pick whoever's number 1 iRating.
Well, to be fair, it's always going to be Garrett Maines. Let's be honest.
Well, you never know. Well, the B Open tonight will not be Garrett. He typically doesn't run the B.
Yeah, but it's still the same iRating, and he's what, 8?
Yeah, so I'm saying you
iRating?
just can't pick the one car. So we just can't pick the one car for B Open tonight. That's what I'm saying. Because a lot of times it can be skewed in that guy's favor, because a lot of races you get in, the one car is just simply that much better. And typically, whenever we get into these A Opens and the NIS Opens on Friday night, Garrett Maines is typically just better than everybody else, and we're seeing it once again here at the Richmond Raceway. Garrett Maines has stretched that lead out to over a 1.5 seconds over Matt Busa in the 4, coming through 3 and 4 for the final time. Garrett Maines is going to bring that thing to the checkered flag to bring home yet another victory in the Monday Night A Open Series here, the Ryco Performance Monday Night A Open Series. Congratulations to Garrett Maines for once again bringing that home. Bringing home the checkered flag, I should say. My apologies. Kind of looking at right here, making sure nothing goes on that checkered flag. Oh, a little bit of maybe a little bit of split shown here, but not too much there.
Yeah, Yeah, just pure domination from Garrett Maines. Getting off topic, I mean, there was no ifs, ands, or buts. That was Garrett Maines' race from the start. I mean, Joseph Galata was able to give a little bit of a challenge to the 12 of Garrett Maines, but if we're being pretty honest, Garrett Maines really had no competition except for that, that 20-30 lap stint where he was battling with Galata. So, an absolutely dominating performance from that 12 car tonight.
Big congratulations to Garrett Maines for once again bringing it home on the top step of the podium. We're going to do our full race results real quick as we watch Garrett Maines bring it back down to the start-finish line and park it here for us. Actually, my apologies. We're going to send it to our final commercial break of the A Open race. On the other side, we're going to try to get a couple interviews for you. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Ryco Performance Monday Night Top Split, where we've just finished the A Open portion of the event tonight. My goodness. We're going through the unofficial results here tonight. Garrett Maines bringing home the checkered flag. Matt Busa in second. Joseph Galata in third. Taylor Hurst bringing home in P4. Jacob Schneider in fifth. Ray Alfala 6th. Alex Murray 7th. Patrick Gitter 8th. Nicholas Roman 9th. And Sean Conklin rounds out the top 10. Nick?
Shane Davis going to be finishing in 11th place tonight with Elliott Drummond in 12th. James Houghton in 13th with Zach Roethlisberger in 14th. Miller Bonds 15th. Johan Seminario in 16th. 17th position going to Matt DiCiani. Cody Turland in 18th position with Justin Levine in 19th. And Paul Bergoli rounding out your top 20.
Going on to our second page of results, if we have them. We might not even do that, actually. I don't think... Never mind. It's timed. My apologies. I just gotta wait. I need to go through slower next time. I talk too fast. This is a fault with me. I gotta learn how to talk slower. Nick, me and you were both just speedy, but going through them. 21st, Joseph Bisciata. 22nd, Joshua Watson. 23rd, Edward Schroeder Jr. 24th, Derek Heitman. 25th is Dylan Banks, with Joseph Squared in 26th, Brandon Bikey in 27th, and Shane Parish in 28th, with Jeremy Sumter rounding out the 29 car field, 99 laps down. But now to round out the Ryco Performance Monday Night Top Split A Open, we're going to interview our race winner. We're going to pull up Garrett Maines into the booth, and we're going to ask Garrett a couple questions here. Garrett, do you have a copy buddy?
Yes, sir.
Well, Garrett, it seems to be a pretty common occurrence to have you come up to the booth and walk us through your race rundown after a dominating performance. So just kind of walk us through it. Leave out the spicy details at the very end, and we'll come back to that afterwards.
All right. Well, I mean, there at the beginning is a ton of fun racing with Galata there. I wasn't really sure what I had. I literally just picked one out of the folder. I was like, what are the odds that the most recent setup is the best setup? So I just picked it, and it's a little snug for me on the short run, but I was able to adapt, and it really came in there at the end. I mean, I think that was the way to go. As usual, Ken built a freaking rocket, and there on the long run, I mean, I felt like we could just go anywhere, and I was able to get the spot back and pull away a little bit, and we got that yellow, and I wasn't really sure how that was going to play out. I took the two tires, and with Sean, I think it was Sean and Alex, that I really wasn't much faster than them. They were pushing really hard, and I didn't want to blow my tires off because they had a long way to go, but I was afraid it turned into a caution fest, and it was a little nerve-wracking there, but I felt like all the decisions that were made on strategy there for once actually panned out in my favor, and we were in the right place at the right time to benefit from it.
All right, now like I said, you left out the spicy stuff, so I appreciate it. Now, can you kind of run us through what in the world was all that about with Brandon Bikey coming with about 25 laps to go? It seemed like you had the race in hand, and then he kind of started targeting a couple of you guys. Can you walk us through what was going on there, if you have any insight?
Well, I think, honestly, somebody needs to ask him, because that was unprovoked and uncalled for. And I don't know what else to say other than that was childish and embarrassing. Like, you know, this is one of the biggest SOFs of the week. You've got a lot of pro drivers in here preparing for tomorrow. And then you have somebody that's got beef with somebody else. It's like, let me just take out the leader because I'm upset. Like, that's not acceptable and doesn't need to be on iRacing. So I really hope, you know, something is done about that. I mean, he couldn't have picked a worse race to do it in. This is in front of an audience, so I don't know. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to Matt Busa. At least from the broadcast booth, it seemed like he might have allowed you to hold on to the race leader. At least he didn't challenge for it. I felt like he was gaining ground, and then he just all of a sudden stopped, even though you were still getting harassed up in the lead. So shout out to Busa for, I think, being a good sport there at the end. Maybe you have a different opinion on that, but regardless, still a great result for you once again, bringing home P1. Looking forward to seeing you on Friday night to perhaps make it back-to-back. And like you said, you getting ready for the pro race. Good luck going forward with the Coke Series.
No, I appreciate it. And I just want to touch on that. I knew I didn't want to yellow, so my, you know, my goal there was to make sure I didn't get wrecked, but I also couldn't wreck him. So after his second or third attempt of, you know, dragging me back to Busa, I did expedite the process. But I don't know. It's pretty ridiculous when you have to race with, you know, the intent of not getting wrecked. Like, that's not that should not be what I'm doing. But I don't know. Thankfully I survived, and I mean, he didn't have any beef with Matt apparently, so, you know, Matt was able to get through there, and at least I was able to still gauge, you know, where we're at with him. I didn't get any damage or anything like that. Just lost a little bit of time, but it's a good race overall.
Yeah, Garrett, not the way that you want these things to end by any means whatsoever, but you put on a good show in tonight, put on a dominating show, leading just about halfway, or probably more than half the laps if I had to bet. So congratulations on the dominating show once again, and look forward to seeing you on Friday night.
I appreciate it. I'm going to give a huge shout out to MCU Body, Linux, all the guys at Ryco for all the hard work this week. Car's a rocket. I say this every time, and I like being able to say it because we've been good. But also, huge shout out to Left Court Brothers and FGR Excel for their support.
I apologize. I forgot to ask you for your shout outs. I was trying to usher you out of here, so I was trying to squeeze you out a little bit too quick. And that's ridiculous. I got a whole nother race after this, so it's not like I'm going anywhere. But regardless, congratulations again. And we'll see you next time on the track.
Thank you.
All right, that was our race winner, Garrett Maines. Closing out the A Open race here tonight. Gonna have about a 10-minute break between our A Open and B Open events. For Nick Stein and Austin Derbyshire here, I've been Austin Edstrom. Stay with us. We'll be back in about 15 or so minutes for that B race. Welcome, just in time, to the Ryco Performance Monday Night Top Split action from Richmond Raceway. The B Open race is about to get going. We are on our second lap of pacing, about to come to the green flag. We've got Ryan Andrew sitting up there on the pole, Ricky Utting on the outside of the front row, Spencer Higgs inside of row number 2, Justin Dumas and Johnny Avila round out the top 5. Justin Levine out there outside of row number 6. Coming to the green flag, Barney the flag man is waving it in the air. Green flag is out. Ryan Andrew leads us down to turn number 1. As they race side by side, going down into turn number 3, 2 by 2, all the way throughout the pack. P1's got a little bit of a distance. Oh, it's the 66 goes spinning out of turn number 4. He holds on to it, saves it. It goes tumbling down the running order as a result. Tough break early on in the going. Lap number 2 out of 120 and already having an issue, having to go all the way back to the back of the pack. That's a lot of ground that he's going to have to make up. A lot of ground to recover all the way from the back. Trying to get a good look exactly who that is. I don't quite have the paint scheme off the top of my mind. It's Spencer Higgs. Spencer Higgs that lost it last time. This time, Patrick Gallagher down through the grass. So we've had issues out of turn number 4 both times by. I do want to apologize for the technical issues that we had, showing up a little bit late here to the B Open. We've lost a commentator due to more internet issues, and unfortunately we've just been dealing with internet bugs all night, so we apologize for that. Unfortunately, it's just out of our control, but we are back right now for the beginning of this race. Made it just in time, so thank you for sticking with us, and thank you for being here for the second race out of 2 tonight for the Ryco Performance Monday Night Top Split action. Also got to introduce my co-commentator here, Justin Prince. He's the one that is jumping in for our good buddy Nick Stein, who just had the entire internet grid wiped out in his city that he is in, unfortunately. So thank you, Justin, for swinging on by on unbelievably short notice. Thank you so much.
No problem at all. And of course, nothing you can do when you have windstorms, to say the very least, to deal with. But when it comes to tonight, we're already seeing one of the main traits when it comes to Richmond Raceway as a whole. It's going to be difficult to pass. It's going to be critical to have a good rhythm if you want to make passes throughout the night tonight. Having track position like Ryan Andrew in the Storm Machine, exactly what you need to have if you want to try and win from the get-go, especially, surprisingly, starting off green and clean. For many of the drivers in the heart of the field, it's going to be about being near perfect and also having that long run pace to make passes, especially if you're, say, Michael Allard trying to make rotation work on the inside, especially because of how a lot of these drivers, even though the preferred line's inside, end up pinching a bit down from that middle line to prevent said passes off turn 4 especially.
Yeah, we're already seeing, like you said, them pitching off at turn number 4. We've been seeing hard racing out of turn 4 ever since the drop of the green flag. I've been seeing people get loose just about every single time coming out of that corner. It's a very, very big trouble spot. Kind of a lazy corner coming out of it, and you see a lot of lazy spins as a result.
Exactly. And we've already seen at least 2 drivers with issues. In particular, one of them had front starting position. Spencer Higgs basically threw it all away and on cold tires. All it is you go full throttle exit, steps out, and if it steps out like this, you're basically either hard into the wall or in the back. Same, I think, happened to Patrick Gallagher because inside line, turn 4.
And that's late. He's almost at the start-finish line and he's spinning out.
But that's how long it can take in some cases where if it doesn't grip up fully, if you're too quick on the gas, it just steps away.
To your point about those 2 that we just mentioned, as the caution flag does wave.
And I believe it's Blaine Davis that just got involved with Higgs under the caution flag. Just like that, throw away the clean run, and now it becomes a bit of a fuel mileage race. We were talking about this beforehand. 110 laps the fuel run. This caution could make it interesting on save. That was quite simply just people missing braking points, and there's a main point. Whenever that happens on the radio, that's what happens when you end up going too late on the brakes and not following the same braking mark as the driver in front.
Yeah, that's a common occurrence in Richmond, right? We were talking about it in the A Open down to turn 3. People miss the braking zone into turn 3 quite often and lock up that right front tire and go a little bit too straight into the corner. We see a lot of accidents that way, people clipping the left rear of the car in front of them on the outside. And that's about the same thing we saw into 1, I gotta say. Just maybe out judging your or misjudging your braking zone a little bit, outbraking yourself, getting into the car in front of you. Unfortunately, kind of a silly accident at the end of the day, because like we mentioned, it's just under the braking zone. Missing your braking point is I don't know. It should be a relatively minor mistake, but it can have major consequences.
And you even seen that with the second of the incidents before, with drivers stepping out in the first place to it getting loose. I want to touch back on that. It's worth noting that second of the drivers is Patrick Gallagher, who's running in his RSS racing machine where he made some starts a couple years ago. So making mistakes like missing the braking marks or getting very loose on the cold tires on the inside line out of turn 4, it can happen to just about anybody. I'm very curious, though, how the Ohio-based driver does here. And yes, that is the Patrick Gallagher you're thinking of from Dirt Racing Quarter Midgets, from Turner Motorsport, and, of course, one start this season in stock cars.
Love getting guys with a little bit of experience out here to show us how it's done, right, on the broadcast. Maybe show a couple of these other guys out on the virtual world how to get it done.
It did do very well, I believe, with JD Motorsport, especially with that organization. Ty Dillon had a top 15 for that team at one point before the whole entire suspension fell apart. But talking about what's going up at the front, though, with this time of the caution flag, I'm not surprised to see drivers like Howard, like Burkhardt, Dart and company saying either 2 tires or 4 tires. Be sure they're great on fuel here. And with this restart, track position being played for up front, but hoping it stays green in general, being played for, I think, in the back.
Yeah, and up in the broadcast booth, I'm hoping for a long green flag run as well. Love the long green flag racing that you get at Richmond. Right, there's definitely moments where you get some chopped up bits with some caution sprees, but man, whenever you get a long green flag run and maybe you can fit a pit stop in there, it can really lead itself to some fantastic racing with some great strategy involved, whether that just be tire strategy or pit stop strategy as well. Here though, with only 105 laps to go, I imagine we won't be seeing too much pit stop strategy, but 65 leading us back down to the Geico restart zone. Green flag back in the air. Ryan Andrew back to the gas and back down to turn number 1.
Already getting himself clear. That's important to be able to get that arc down off these restarts. Keep an eye on some of these pinches, though. You already have a lot of these drivers making your contact. Malachi Rigby in one of the premier cars trying to hold up that 5 on track. John Williams in one of the Conti machines. Trouble heart of the pack. Some of the Bubba Wallace paint teams crashed.
Big wreck coming out of turn number 4. Multiple drivers around, crashing hard into the fence. You got to feel for the Team Conti number 66. I mean, starting in 3rd place, Spencer Higgs makes one mistake at the very beginning and now involved in back-to-back accidents. And that one involved about 4 or 5 others.
Going to be interesting to see Michael Owen's decision-making here because, in the words of Travis Dart, drove right through. This all started actually 10 seconds earlier.
Yeah, the 23 was loose entering 3.
Yep. You know why? Michael Owen dived underneath them on the apron. If we can look one more time to that entry point, it was...
On Matt Washington?
Yeah. That's not a smart entry, I'll just say that. When you're going 3 wide already to the bottom. Yeah, he's on the apron making that work. Of course you stack up like that.
Yeah, that's maybe a little naughty from the 10. I mean, the 23 checked up a little bit there, maybe in the middle. I don't know. That was definitely late.
It was offset 3 wide too, but for everyone else at the bottom of the racetrack, just nowhere to go.
With them being, like you mentioned, offset 3 wide, that puts the driver on the very, very outside in a very precarious situation too, because he's the one expecting 3 wide the absolute least. Now, he got lucky that time. It happened to really just be between the drivers on the inside groove as the 34 skates up the racetrack to avoid it, but big incident for the 23, a little bit of contact to the left rear. Matt Washington going around, also getting sent back to the back of the pack after making up a good bit of ground here in the early going. Just tough break for him here. Lap, 13 that happened on right after restart. Just unfortunate there.
I think some of the conversation on the radio is going to be tad heated after all that. You have Dakota Yerman that already had his mandatory repairs. That was one of the teammates to Howard, in fact. So a lot of these drivers going to be a lot of heated with their own teammates maybe. But outside of that, This helps those stay down on the racetrack on their strategy, does it not?
The caution coming out helping everybody staying on the racetrack?
Yeah, for saving fuel.
I mean, it definitely does. I mean, they're saving fuel more than they would have otherwise, but I gotta feel like they're probably okay. I mean, we've had.
They're definitely okay now.
I mean, that's a fair point. That's yeah. I was rather convinced they were okay beforehand, but I mean, it's your point. Yeah, if it moves it from a probably to a definitely, then yeah, of course it helps them out a little bit. But at the end of the day, from what I've seen from Richmond, you might be faster splitting it in half. In all seriousness, and coming down and taking 4 tires. Now the difficulty with that is a caution is probably going to come out, and if a caution comes out, you're going down 2 laps. So it's a big risky move, but I do think that if this thing runs green, that might be the faster way around.
I think this field's going to be pretty excited to see if they can get it along a green flag run. Ryan Andrew, I think, wants it to stay green because that driver has a lot of long run pace. Now that's a crossover from the past from some of the air groupings to Storm as of the past few weeks and months. Andrew showing that they've got a little bit of speed on the Xfinity side.
Showing a little bit of speed, leading us back to the green flag. Once again, the 65, Ryan Andrew leading us down into turn number 1, easily getting clear once again over Justin Dumas and Johnny Avila. Just about side by side between those two coming out of turn number 2 with Justin Dumas. Is able to get the run out of the outside groove. Justin Levine looking back at him through the back camera. Out of Johnny Avila. Levine fighting on the outside, I believe, of Rigby for that 5th place position.
Yeah, Rigby, from keeping an eye on him over the past couple of years, is somebody that's not going to really back down per se from these fights. If he feels he's quicker, he'll try and hold things down alongside you for as long as he can, at least as long as the car can realistically hold on. For others like Levine, had to feel with the Ryco power underneath his machine, he's going to get some of that power down pretty soon here. If anything, it looks like he's just saying, I'm just going to keep it calm, not burn up the stuff, keep it patient. I've got my preferred groove. Let's let him try and burn up his stuff inside a bit.
Oh, and the caution does come out. Another wreck in 3 and 4. Saw one driver going spinning, a blue and white car coming down the banking in 3. I saw 2 cars involved. I couldn't quite tell if there were any more. Looking back further in the field and trying to get a positive idea on exactly. It might have been Matt Washington again in 3 and 4.
Yeah, not happy on the radio. And for Matt Washington, he's had just about everybody except for the lottery go his way tonight. Just about everything seems to be running into him. This time, same issue as our first caution. That's Renato Galzo, who just runs on through him.
Well, he did, but he got help from behind as well. Was that Murcott behind him that gave him a big shot into the corner?
I think so. There is, yeah, that was Murcott directly behind there. That forced him to go deeper on the brake. Exactly, and it goes exactly to the point. You can only go so far as the car in front of you. In this case, the 25 was forced into going deeper than he really wanted to be. Watch. 11 goes deep, 25 goes deep not to get hit. He runs Washington over instead.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I don't really think there's anything that 25 could have done different in that scenario. He got a bump from behind in the braking zone. There's not really much you can do to control it in that scenario. If we're in the next live for the Ryco Performance Monday Night Top Split on GridVision. Hopefully, guys, hopefully. To the end of this thing this time. Unfortunately, we have had internet issues plaguing us tonight. Completely out of our control. I apologize for the intrusions on our broadcast tonight. It will not be a common occurrence, but unfortunately, whenever the one of us that are streaming it are having internet problems, and they can't do anything about it, unfortunately, we're just along for the ride at that point. But luckily, we are back on lap number 45. Micah Allard leading the way. Nicholas Caldwell on the outside. Tire strategy all over the place. Under the last caution, these guys came down pit road under this caution that just came out. Everybody about, let's see, 7th on back just came down. So be mindful of everybody about 7th on back coming through the field. See if these new tires make a big difference. There were not too many laps in between the two cautions, so these guys might be able to hold on to the front row for a little while. But Micah Allard on the front row currently leading us back to that Geico restart zone as the flag man is waving the flag. Coming down to turn number 1, Michael Allard leads away.
Yeah, and for Micah Allard, it was an interesting call for him to stay out there, but you know why he stayed out? It's 3 wide with the drivers on all tires here, and you're playing the carnage card. We've seen that last restart. Here we go. Ryan Andrews around.
Oh, man, I could have swore the 23 was going to destroy a Matt Washington going way up high. That's the man that's been leading this entire race. He's been the fastest car all race long. Settled himself up towards the front, but the ever-changing pit strategy with the long string of cautions that we've had tonight has led to the demise of Ryan Andrews' race here on lap number 47.
And this is what came to mind. The first thought is, why wouldn't he pit? Well, right back to Exhibit A. 3 wide in the heart of the field is never really great here. As I believe we'll get the right time adjustment in a moment here. For Andrew, it's a tough sequence when it comes to 3 wide in the first place because you're hoping that everybody gets the line right. In the case of what just happened, lots of drivers didn't get the line right, and Andrew, he's going to have to get a lot of repairs done all of a sudden, as I believe we're having a replay issue. This is live, just about offset by 5 seconds.
We might be the kings of technical difficulties. If they gave away a Grammy for technical difficulties, I think we might win it.
Yeah.
Fortunately, we're having some technical difficulties with our playback machine, so unfortunately we're not going to be able to catch a replay of that last accident. But I imagine there's going to be plenty of more, so stick around and you'll have plenty more to see.
Yeah, right now the amount of contact that's starting to build up, I think, is quintessential action track stuff that you see at Richmond. But if Mike Allard gets his wish here, everybody else is just going to keep doing that, and he remains in the race lead with a clean car, even though he literally did the same thing when he took the freshies, remember? So a lot of drivers are going to need to be heads up here. First on tires now is Justin Dumas and Justin Levine, in fact, because of Andrew being basically on the back foot the rest of the race.
These kinds of races are so strange too, and whenever I say that, I mean the caution fest. As we have a replay, Ryan Andrews 3 wide, has to shift up high to miss the 11, and that causes the contact with the 12, and just a little bit of ping ponging in the entry of the corner. And yeah, the 23 was mighty close to destroying the front clip of the 65.
It gets back to the exact point I was making, though, Austin, earlier, is you're hoping that everybody gets your line right in a 3 wide like that. In that case, the 11 missed the bottom, partly. Forces that middle line to check, as you said. The problem is, in my opinion, at least what we've seen, Andrew's one of the fastest cars on the racetrack, or was. You have to think big picture in that situation. Is it worth going 3 wide on lap 40 and risking your race there, which he just threw away, you can argue, compared to what I honestly have had people think is actually wild? Just don't do 3 wide at Richmond.
Well, we've seen it multiple times tonight. Even in the first stint of the broadcast before the internet issues, we were seeing a couple people having issues 3 wide. So not really too surprising to see it come to blows. And like you mentioned, you would probably think, you know, we're obviously the top split of the night here, the second race of the B Open. All these guys are really, really fantastic, really good drivers. So you would maybe think that they would not back it down, but to your point, maybe play it a little bit smarter.
No, every single position is worth $1,000. I've got to get the pass right this minute.
That's about how iRacing goes nowadays. So it might not be fact, but it's how it feels. And we're gonna be seeing it on full display here in just a matter of moments as Micah Allard leading us back to the green flag once again. Green flag flying down into turn 1. Micah Allard easily clearing for the race lead over Caldwell there in second.
And it looks like some of the drivers saying, you know what, I'm just going to let some of these cars go for now. I believe that's Travis Dart on all the tires. And already the drivers on freshies taking the 2 wide to heart. Oh, that was a choice for Levine, though. They nearly wrecked the inside line. Jonathan Dart had to back out his 4 wide. Why not?
Oh, man, it almost doesn't work out there right behind Justin Levine entering turn number 1. Still 3 wide coming out of the corner. Everybody giving each other enough space. Entering turn 3 can be a trouble spot. 3 wide. Just about contact between the 2 on the outside. Everybody squeezing off. Coming out of turn number 4. Still a lot of space between the 3. Finally, a little bit of space, giving each other some room. Trying to get a green flag run for the first time here tonight.
Once again, if gap cars seems to be the mindset of everybody, the problem is there's so much you can do with the gaps when you're nearly crashing because of how tight these gaps are getting. Already a lot of communication to the heart of the pack too. It's offset 3 again, and this could be trouble. Burkhardt is holding on to one of the Dart's fenders.
Crazy how hard of racing we're seeing on these restarts, but a lot of it comes down to the mixed tire strategy. A lot of people on different agendas, and even the people that are on similar agendas to each other could be in the middle of a run or thinking of the run differently. We could have guys thinking about charging hard, driving up to the front of the pack and hoping for the caution again because we've seen it so many times. And we could have guys out here just pedaling along, trying to save these tires because they think we're finally going to get a long green flag run. Which is it going to be? Finally seeing a little bit of field spread here as we've run a couple laps under green. It's been a little while since we've seen it string out just about single file. Obviously still a couple side-by-side battles, not to mention Justin Dumas here on the inside of John Williams for that P3 position. Able to get to the inside before they get down into turn number 3. Dives down onto the bottom, just about wraps the bottom. Couldn't quite get it down to the yellow line. Still is just about able to keep it there, not quite. Has to fall back in line behind the number 7.
Not too much of an offset, remember, on strategy between about 5 laps. That's why it's so difficult there. For a lot of these error cars in the heart of the pack, it's about the raw pace. Lots of discussion going on about some of these drivers getting loose already in the run. Meanwhile, Travis Dart just about in the wall. He is in the wall. He drove himself in the wall.
It's a problem out of turn number 4, man. I'm telling you, every time out of that corner, I've been seeing somebody flirting with it. And it's just a matter of time before somebody knocks that freaking fence down. I mean, coming out of turn 4 is such a sketchy spot, especially up near these restarts whenever you're still fighting 2 wide. Fight for every single spot, but also still not trying to kill those tires, eat them up too bad. But that wall just comes out at you out of nowhere. You feel like you're fine, and all of a sudden you just start skating, you lose grip, and that right rear is into the fence, and the right front follows.
If anything, it almost looks like some of the Premier cars. This is the second of those that have gone high side on corner exit and just slammed the wall down. In this case, though, a little less contact, at least for Travis Dart. I think that might be an issue for them, at least, to think about for the rest of the week, because it seems that right front is burning a lot more than some of these others.
And that's not too surprising. Richmond's a track where you're off the gas for a long time through the corner. You have to get on the brakes a decent bit, especially into turn number 3. And you're really just letting the car rotate. And if you get on that gas a little bit too early, you burn off that right front and you just get tight. So it's not too surprising to know that, you know, that's a condition that everybody's struggling with. That right front is the main trouble spot here coming around this racetrack. Certain ones are a little bit more right rear dominant, but Richmond is a right front racetrack if I've ever seen one.
You know who's making their way through the pack there? You just seen the 65 on track 2 in sim, Ryan Andrew. Monster's also running an FTF's Grand National Series this season, which made its return. He's still showing that car's got a bit of speed in it. There is damage on both the front fenders, though. That's going to hurt him long run, I think, in terms of raw pace. But there is a saying when it comes to a lot of these drivers and a lot of the top cars, if it's got raw pace in it, as a whole on fresh and no damage, if it is a dominant car in the first place, it can somewhat overcome damage. Look at this in the battle up front, though. Justin Dumas is up to second, already past Nicholas Caldwell and John Williams. So the fresh tires of Dumas are starting to strike away.
Yep, from fourth to second there. I imagine he's going to start reeling in that race leader, Micah Allard, there. 2 seconds. Sorry, not 2 seconds. 1 second out in front of Justin Dumas.
Yeah, this is right about where I was starting to think some of the club off might come into play. Remember Caldwell, amongst those who topped off early, some of the oldest rubber in the entire field right now. This is going to be where if you've stayed out the longest trying to preserve a set, that's going to hurt you. So right now, these drivers on the freshest of the fresh are going to get the chance to pounce here. Johnny Avila, though, he's trying to make some pounces inside. Caution, going to take that away.
And that was a good couple laps as we see Patrick Gallagher struggling down the front straightaway. That was a good chunk of laps. I'd be interested to see if we see anybody come down pit road. I imagine the guys that stayed out under the last caution probably will, but I'm not too sure how everybody's doing on their tire sets at this point.
Yeah, I think on the replay, not the right car there. That's one of the drivers coming off the apron, but yeah, Gallagher just got moved, shuffled, and then looks fine for now, but that's the 24, Brody Chapman, who elected to come down the second wave on the previous caution, saying, I've got to go. Give me the bottom. Get out of my way.
I mean, I get it, but there's a better way to do that without turning the guy. But it is what it is. We've established that we're going to be on a little bit of a caution train here tonight. But I am watching Micah Allard coming down pit road, and he's bringing a lot of people with him. Ryan Andrews staying out. One other competitor staying out, it seems, but seems like most of, if not just about all, the lead lap on pit road. And we're going to take this moment to send it to a little bit of a commercial break. Stick with us for the other side, and we will catch you to the end.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing sim.
Welcome back to Ryco Performance Monday Night Top Split on GridVision. Coming back to the restart on lap number 73. Gonna have 48 laps remaining whenever we come to the green flag. Ryan Andrews, the lone car to stay out on older tires, leading us back to green. Gonna be a sit and duck here, you gotta think, but he's gonna clear to the race lead down to turn number 1. Micah Allard now in a side-by-side battle for second with Justin Dumas. Oh, Allard catches Andrew a little bit too quickly, has to catch it in the middle of the corner and falls back to 4th place, now side-by-side with Jared Bogart on the inside.
Yeah, that was evasive action and then some, I think, for the 10. Maybe wasn't expected to catch him that fast.
Woo!
Oh, that's near trouble.
He caught Justin Levine out like crazy, just got to the right rear quarter panel on corner exit. Levine had to jump out of the gas, got squirrely, was able to hang on to it, gave the position back, and now he's in that side-by-side battle with Jared Mogart for the 4th place position. Micah Allard trying to recover. Ryan Andrews doing a good job holding on, but it's not going to last for long. Justin Dumas is coming to take that race lead on the 4 fresh tires.
Still the side-by-side. That top 5, though, still keep an eye, though, on Dumas.
Allard again!
Oh, Allard again, licking the stamp. Way too aggressive in some of these corners right now. I was about to say, drivers like Dumas are giving huge breaks up at the front. That battle for the lead is on. Here comes Justin Dumas.
And Dumas is able to give these breaks to Ryan Andrew up here because Micah Allard is making mistakes back a little bit further back. Made the mistake on the restart and then compounded it with that issue once again, just a lap to go. Now the 4, Dumas on the inside, on the newer tires. Ryan Andrew, not much he's going to be able to do on the outside. Just about on it, able to do it for car. Up the race lead, Justin Dumas using those 4 fresh tires to put him on the top spot.
And remember, Andrew, the reason he's on this strategy, remember the contact that sent him to the back in the first place. In theory, he's offset on strategy by a good pit stop. So he's kind of forced to try and do stuff here. He's way too hard on the push. He's going to destroy the car the rate he's going. Or get a caution he needs.
He needed that big time. It's not going to be the right timing. He probably needed it to run a little bit further to recycle on the same cycle of tires as everybody, but still that at least stops the bleeding for now because that was going to get a little sketchy. He was going to start losing a lot of spots.
With the caution was the 24, by the way, Brody Chapman. See here. Remember the issue we seen that sparked some spin to the grass earlier? This one's on the racing surface. That's the main difference here, Austin. And when you're sideways on the racetrack at Richmond, more than 45 degrees, it's an automatic caution.
Yeah, it's weird. It's about a 50-50 chance whenever you spin out of turn 4 that you're going to get the yellow there. He spun it in such a way that he was sideways on the track for a decent period of time before he slipped down to the grass, so the yellow flag flew.
I think there might be a discussion pretty soon here because remember, correct me if I'm wrong, if you get any so much as a 0x on your Lucky Dog lap, you don't get that, correct?
I believe you're correct.
I believe the 24 just hit the 20 and might have cost him the Lucky Dog. Yeah, he just cost the 20 the Lucky Dog under caution.
And the 24 was the...
Oh, he actually does, but he did get hit in the back bumper. Good point to mention, do not hit your competitors under caution. That has been something that's apparently happened all night.
I want to point out, it was so close. It was almost, I'm borderline saying it's not contact. Like, it's unbelievably close between the two, but there wasn't like a definite push. The 6 kind of hit the gas because he knew it was about to happen to get away from him. So it was mighty close, but I think he escaped it just barely due to him stomping on the gas pedal as soon as he saw him get up behind him.
Okay, so back to the discussion point here. No surprise Ryan Andrew came in. At this point, though, Andrew's a sitting duck, you have to think here. 4 pit stops already. I'm not sure if he's got the final set still available, but...
I think he does, because I think he pitted once just for damage repair.
Exactly. But that's the critical point here is... I don't know how this is going to work out, in theory, because... At least for me, the cutoff point for tires to make sure you don't go to the back is about 25 laps to go. We're almost at that point, less than 40 to go when we get back going. He needs it to stay green and then almost get a late restart to play deep. I don't know if that's going to work with what we already seen the issues on off the start.
I think he needs to have this restart, or on this restart, the only chance that I think that he has a chance to fight the top 5, because he is so off sequence with everybody, is to save his tires as heavy as possible on this restart, hope for a caution at about the 8 to 12 lap mark of the restart, or of the caution, or yeah, after the restart, and hope that everybody comes down to put on their last set of tires. And with only 12 laps between the tires and a lot of those being under caution, I would hope that perhaps with the clean air, he can at least hold on long enough at that point to hold on to the top 5, potentially race for the race win. But I think that's his only chance at this point. I really do. Is just continuing this off strategy play. Next time that these guys come down pit road, stay out and hope. Or maybe you can get a couple positions here, and then whenever everybody comes down pit road, you come down also, but you just come down for 2 tires.
Coming up to that restart, though, this is, I think, still going to be a nervous time because we've already seen a lot of drivers pushing, even a few lap tires difference. We've seen people say 3 wide.
And we're going to see him 3 wide in turn 1 and 2. Somebody throws it around the outside every time.
Yeah. Apparently, Nicholas Caldwell just said he's been making adjustments all race, and the last one made him mighty loose. These drivers with those in-race adjustments when it comes to the spring perches, you got to get that right. And a lot of these drivers with the short fueling thoughts here too, if they get the calculation wrong, you're really wrong. Get your spreadsheet ready.
Well, pay attention to that bright yellow number 34 back there. That's Caldwell complaining about a super loose condition, but back to the green flag. Lap number 83. Justin Dumas leading us back to green. Side by side for that second place position. Jared Bogart on the outside. Trying to use the outside line to his advantage around the outside of John Williams down the back straightaway. Doesn't have a great run, not quite even with the front bumper, and Williams tries to throw it in to take the position away. Oh, they're spinning back behind. Big wreck at the back of the pack. 4 drivers involved about at the back. The 66 still getting spun out after the wreck. Oh, they're having a big argument back at the very back after the wreck's already happened.
Yeah, I wonder why. I can give you 5 guesses that you'll probably get the first one right on what happened. Would you like to say turn 3 wide dive bomb?
That's not too surprising, I would have to say. I mean, how many times have we seen it tonight, Justin? And we weren't even here for 25 or so laps of this thing. It very well could have happened another couple times.
Yeah, this is the same one that had Michael Auer bring out that contact earlier on the same strat. Try to dive inside. And if anything, that doesn't help the case more than anything. In the case of Ricky Utting on the radio, why didn't you wait a lap? You couldn't wait 1 lap?
That's the name of the game, though. We've been seeing it all night. There's been no patience on the racetrack at all. I mean, I have not seen anybody make a smart move to let anybody in all night. It's just been go, 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 take the entire race. I mean, coming from the A Open, it was pretty clean. We had a couple green flag runs. And then this tonight, it's just been a complete caution fest, the complete opposite.
Again, it's Richmond. It's not a surprise, I don't think. It's just which drivers get into incidents. But Justin Dumas might be in the best position, even if it becomes a strategy fest later on, because he's been, out of everybody else, the most consistent on the fresh tires, but also some of the mid-run out of those who've been able to keep it clean. And also, he's kept it clean, which is important.
And he's got the clean air right now, which is the most important. I mean, goodness gracious, he's got his best friend on his side, and that's the clean air. So being up front, especially on these restarts, right, every caution that comes out, it's honestly a break for him, because you get a second to cool down your stuff, and you get a restart where you're guaranteed to jump out to the race lead unless you miss a shift. So the cautions are probably his best friend. Keeps those tires cool, keeps them clean, and just winds down laps, prevents people from having a little bit more of an opportunity, coming down at the end of this thing as the laps wind down. Every lap under caution is a little bit less time that everybody else has to mount a challenge.
One thing we haven't touched upon, I think, tonight is eventually drivers are going to reach the incident limit. Yes, there is one, mind you. We've had one hit it. Patrick Gallagher is the first driver to reach 17 incident points. So the rear-wheel racer from IMSA is the first to reach the incident penalty limit.
Oh, that is just a drive-through, correct? Yeah,
Under
DQ's
green.
at 25. DQ's at 25. So he's still got a little ways to go for the DQ. But under green here at Richmond, that's going to lose you without stopping a lap and a half, probably, right? At least a lap.
Now, as they're getting ready for the restart pretty soon here, I have to start talking about some of the drivers who have quietly done well here. Give huge credit to Jared Mogard. Last night, competed in the start of Rolling Thunder's Truck Series, was one of the contenders in that race. He runs in anything with wheels in this series, and for official, he's with Team Conti, of course. He's been very much chipping away. He's known for being one of the better drivers you can see in the league scene. Why not count him out for official? He has a good chance to get this win.
Yeah, he sounds a little busy, man. He's got a very busy schedule, racing in a whole lot of leagues, and now, like you mentioned, participating in the official racing on the Monday night. But here, Dumas, I mean, I was talking about a guaranteed jump on a restart. That was huge. Jared Bogard on the inside, able to get through for second because John Williams did not even attempt to get going on the outside line.
Yeah, that control car spot's going to be the huge advantage the rest of the day. No teammate friendly fire. That's going to be close with Williams. He is struggling off the launch. Keep an eye, though, on the side-by-sides. Levine and company trying to go, and Avila saying top shelf time.
I think Ryan Andrews might have gotten in the fence a little bit further back entering turn number one. He was able to get it off. Now ducking to the inside a little bit further back for, I believe, the 8th place position. He does have a little bit newer tires than all these guys, so I was talking about he could save and hope for a perfectly timed caution to put himself up towards the front of the field, but it seems that he's going for the, I'm going to pass this mini and hope that this thing runs green to the end and my new tires puts me up towards the front.
Or play big defense at the time. It's right in the mirror, in the heart of the pack for some. And Andrew, again, got some give and take there for Nicholas Caldwell. How long does the give and take last is the question. We've seen drivers just lick the stamp and set it along here. Ryan Andrew has fixed most of the damage on the car. He's fixed the left front fender, but not the right front fully yet.
So still could be a little bit of damage for the 65, hampering him a bit. Like you mentioned on the right front, you can see a little bit of scuff marks over the wheel well for the 65 on the newer tire, sliding in, taking the position away from the 10. Doesn't even give him a chance to enter the corner. Slides up and takes it into turn number one. Ryan Andrews up to 6. And you were mentioning earlier that with the damage, the newer tires, or being fast and being on new tires, it might not hurt you too much. But once you get to the old tires, it might start hurting you, and the speed could start maybe getting knocked out of that thing. But we've only got 25 laps to go. Ryan Andrews might not have enough time to wear the good out of those things completely to make that damage start hurting him. So he's going in for everything he can on the newer tires and everybody in front of him.
Yeah, Andrew continues just knocking them on down, but others I'm keeping an eye on still. We've seen Nick Caldwell over the years do well. For others like Dumas, pressure's on because Mogard's still holding on to second. However, even though Dumas has that cleaner air advantage, Mogard, the past 10 laps, has been up to a 1/10 of a second quicker. He still needs to find a way to close up that gap. That dirty air is going to be a bit of a factor here. Richmond is really the main track. You hear that with short track racing in this car because of the aerodynamic dependentness of this one.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough pass for Mogard. Not only that, but you can see how much he charged the entry to turn one to make up ground. That's going to kill those tires. That's going to hurt that right front. And with 23 laps to go this time across the line, coming to the end of this thing, if he doesn't get past Dumas before that right front tire falls off, once it does fall off, it'll be absolutely impossible for him to pass him. So he's got to be careful with it. Try to keep that right front on, but still try to reel in that gap. But that is a very, very difficult task in the dirty air as that side-by-side battle between Ryan Andrew and Justin Levine resolves itself as Andrew moves up another position into the top 5.
In the words of what's talked about on the radio, that 2 is in a hurry. Do you blame him? compare that to Nicholas Caldwell on the track. Funnily enough, you have him on the radio saying, hey, if anyone wants to pass me, here, have 2 spots at once. Go right ahead. I'll let you on go. I mean, he is in the positive for iRacing. I don't blame him, but still.
With how this race has been run tonight, I don't blame him for not wanting to be within 20 feet of another car.
Yeah, the funny thing is, I'm surprised at the total he's at because if, correct me if I'm wrong, he was at 1 point with teams like One Sim back around 2019, the team we were at 1 point together, and a couple of the others. He's a solid driver. Just surprised to see the iRacing number at the way it is. I'll be shocked. I'll be surprised.
You say that, but this is still a pretty high rating lobby, so even if he's down at 18, he's still pretty high up there, I gotta imagine.
3,200 is a bit lower.
Only 32?
The 4,500 the last year he was around, I believe, is a bit of a drop, but he is still playing the smart. He has always been one of the drivers who just loves, well, quite simply, don't make contact. I like clean cars, and so does Nick.
Well, that's the thing, right? If you want to build your iRating, at the end of the day, you just got to finish the races. I mean, if you can get down to the end of this thing and you've got half decent speed and you don't go off strategy and you just continue to run with everybody and let it cycle out, and just take your top 10s, you will climb iRating relatively quickly. I'm gonna tell you right now. So hustle for those top 10s.
Yeah, compare that to what we just seen with Spencer Higgs. That's the opposite of what you need. And remember, it's an aerodynamic track. We've already seen it with Andrew, why he's taken so much time to get repairs done. Lots of these drivers just are having a hard time recovering from if they've hit the wall because of how much it slows you down. It's not just straight line speed, but just in the handling of some of these drivers.
Yeah, and you were talking about the 2, Ryan Andrew, with that right front damage still. I think that with the tires, or with this run continuing to go on, I think perhaps he's starting to struggle a little bit more. He's got 3 cars, the line of stern right in front of him, giving him a ton of dirty air to deal with into every single corner. I mean, just super tough for him to turn through the middle with that right front damage. Yeah, he's got a little bit newer tires, but I got to be honest, he's used up just about all the advantage out of those things, getting through the entire pack up into the top 5 and up to the bumper for this race for second. Done a heck of a job to get up here, but that's not what you want to see.
Yeah, he just had an... did he actually unscuff it by hitting the wall? Did I just see that right?
Imagine. There's no way.
Seriously, did he just fix the damage by hitting the wall? I've never seen that before, but I will say they're kind of boxed in right now for second. Jared Mogard is really struggling, and here we go. The Conti car is going offset 3. Avila wants to go.
We were talking about struggling 3 wide. It's been a problem all night. Avila thinks about it, doesn't quite get there, just backs out of it. It could be 2 wide coming off the corner right behind him as well. Mogard's still trying to hang on to the outside line. Williams trying to fight him off, trying to take the second place position and be able to give him a chance to fight off Dumas, and they're 3 wide behind, coming out of turn number 4. The 65 has stuck his nose in there. They're 3 wide for third. Ryan Andrew from the back of the pack since the restart has made the move on Jared Mogard and has the preferred groove on Avila coming out of turn number 2.
What an aggressive move to just say, oh, I've got to go. I'm not going to stand by here. And you have to think his fellow spotter and one of his team owners, William Hare, are going to be extremely happy with a move like that, saying those are the types of moves that build a champion, doing aggressive moves, but not dangerous moves in that regard. Playing it just right to be able to make a pass like that work. And if you're on the path like I think Andrew is to try and make a full-on run for RTP next year, the top foot didn't need to do well in these races with 10 laps to go to recover.
We've been talking about it all night. We've been beating a dead horse about how difficult it is to pass at this racetrack. And being able to be in the position to get 2 for 1. And we've been talking about how hard it is to go 3 wide too. So being able to be in the position to get a 2 for 1 like that, where you don't have to deal with the dirty air, you get side by side with 2 of them at once and pick them both off, is massive, especially whenever you're trying to run up to the race leader. I do think that he's used up the goods, so he won't be able to challenge up with Justin Dumas, but Still, an incredible drive from Andrew, who looked down and out of this thing after a couple incidents, put on a couple lap pressure tires and all these guys, and put on a heck of a drive to put himself back up onto the podium.
And have to come in for at least 30, 40 seconds repairs the past 2-3 caution periods. And to basically drive the wounded car to be able to have a shot here. Meanwhile, the Olay run continues, possibly. Caldwell already has said if you want to go, you can go, but you know who's going? How about Brody Chapman? We already seen him punt the driver before. Does he punt someone out of the way here? Because he's one of your big movers as of late.
He very well could. He's making the moves up to P11. I gotta imagine he was involved in a couple of those cautions, so he very well could have come down, put on tires as well, and he's feeling the result, moving up the pack. From the back, up to the 11th place spot, now fighting for 10th.
Yeah, that long run pace seems pretty solid. You are right, he is on some of the freshest tires in this entire field. That's gonna help you a little bit to be able to pick up more spots than you normally wouldn't have had. With about 5 laps to go, Justin Dumas is just playing this perfectly. In fact, he's doing exactly what I thought. Long run pace, especially the mid run, I should rather say, perfect with how he's pulling 1/10 of a second a quick lap each time.
I mean, just look how steady he is on the wheel. Just minor adjustment to the right, just letting it float out to the wall, using all of the racetrack, using the brake to let the car roll and turn down into the corner, letting the wheel just guide it, not really fighting the wheel whatsoever, floating it back up off to the top of the racetrack, exiting turn number 4. Super, super clean lap after lap from Justin Dumas. Coming out of turn number 2 once again, 4 laps to go. With how many cautions we've seen tonight, though, you can't really breathe easy just yet if you're in that driver's seat of the number 4 car. I mean, it has been a caution fest. The last 30 laps have been clean, but it's not over yet.
And every time I've seen him race, he's been this solid in that regard. Always representing that blue with the 23 that you see with 2311. But I think some of these other battles might start to heat up soon. You've seen the backdrop there for 4th position. Johnny Avila. Those are one of the battles we're talking about. Avila is someone that's ran with Express for a couple years now, former product from Nexus as well. Knows how to build setups, but this time, just trying to see if there's a diamond line available to pass. Look at that boost.
Look at that run he got coming out of turn number 2. Didn't come to pass that time by, but he's got one more lap to make it happen. Trying to build another run out of turn number 4. He's got 1 lap to go, and so does Justin Dumas. Up in the race lead, entering turn number 1. What a night it's been for the driver of the number 4. Leading the way now, coming out of turn number 2 for the final time. Over John Williams and Ryan Andrew. Side by side now for that 3rd place position. Avila has thrown it in on the bottom. It's going to be too little too late. A little bit further back, though, as Justin Dumas comes out of turn number 4. It's going to be the number 4 who's going to be the winner in the B Open of the Ryco Performance Monday Night Top Split.
Very strong pace for Justin Dumas tonight. 45 laps led on the evening. And again, it lives right back to the main point. Kept the car clean the whole night. Didn't do wild moves to be able to get himself to the pack. No contact. And especially critical, too, the mid-run pace was right there. 52 laps in to close it out, essentially on the tires, and he was the quickest out of it all.
He absolutely was the quickest, showed great long-run pace, just managed that gap really well coming down to the checkered flag. But we're going to take it to a final commercial break, and on the other side, we're going to get results, and if we've got a couple people to interview in the Discord, we will interview them. So stick with us to catch those. Welcome back to the Ryco Performance Monday Night Top Split. We've got your unofficial results up on the screen for you. Bringing it home in the first place position, top step of the podium, Justin Dumas. Second place, John Williams. Third place, Ryan Andrew. Johnny Avila just could not make the pass for third place at the end, finishes in fourth. Justin Levine in fifth, Jared Mogard in sixth. Micah Aller brings it home in seventh with Bailey Jelinas, Nicholas Caldwell, and Brady Chapman rounding out the top 10, Justin.
11th spot today went the way of Travis Dart. 12th spot went to the birthday boy, Brandon Burkhart. 13th, Malachi Rigby. He was amongst those who had to recover from significant front nose and side damage. Then it's Dustin Tang, who finished 14th. Dylan Murcott, 15th. 16th, Blaine Davis, very quiet run. Spencer Hicks started up front, then spun it in the grass and couldn't recover from then on out, including landing into crashes 3 times. Chris Frost finished 18th. Dakota Ehrman in 19th. And Matt Washington, he was treated like a ping pong ball several times tonight. He finished 20th.
21st was Ricky Udding. 22nd, Clinton Engel. 23rd was Jonathan Dart. Patrick Gallagher brings it home in 24th with Latoro Gayaso, bringing home a 25th finish in the 25-car field. Unfortunately, we could not bring up any of the top 3 finishers for an interview tonight, so that is going to do it here from us tonight at GridVision for the Ryco Performance Monday Night Top Split. From the entire GridVision team, we'd like to thank you for watching and participating in the chat. For more information on getting your lead broadcasted or starting your career in broadcasting, contact us on Facebook or X or email at us at info@gridvision.live. Congratulations to Justin Dumas and Garrett Maines on winning tonight's races from Richmond Raceway. This has been Austin Edstrom alongside Justin Prince, and earlier today, Nicholas Stein, and also Austin Derbyshire behind the production booth. We will see you next time on The Grid.